That's how we're gonna start it off. It's gonna be like that. OBS is gonna be like that. All right, Nika, I tried to fix it. Is it working now? Is it working now? Still got the sound going in and out on the mic. Thanks, Nika. Audio input is really annoying me. It was okay yesterday. I feel like it fixed itself. Just needs to warm up. It's got to cool up. We don't warm up, we cool up and warm down. Cool up and warm down. Gonna have to get my technician team in here to check this out. What's going on around here? I don't know. So we had some technical difficulties, but I think it's working at the moment. I said I was going to check it last night, but I was like, dude, it's going to work. But no, I think it's the port. I think there's a port. My team of expert technicians are coming to the conclusion that possibly the USB port is not appropriate. That's why I pay them the big bucks, because they figured that out for me. So let's see. So anyways, I'm going to continue on here with my practice session. So we've got the Nashville numbers, looking at the notes that are highlighted around the collection of notes of the C major, but we're going to be focusing in on the tonic of Nashville number 4, which happens to be the Lydian, which of course from a letter standpoint would be an F. And we're focusing on this particular F on the 10th fret, and it's on the G string, top of the guitar up here. This is the low or heavy E string as we go down, looking at it as we visualize it from our perspective from behind the guitar. All right, so and then on the top of the screen, I have the fretboard broken out with 2 halves, 1 half being the point, which can be named by the Nashville number or absolute modal point, the Nashville letter, or the note number and the note letter, and the second one being the distance, which is being measured from the perspective of this node, Nashville number 4, Lydian node, and it gives you then the half steps, and then it's going from the Lydian node, and then it gives you the modal half steps, and it gives you then the last bit being the normal scale or interval. All right, so last off, we left off building chords, which what I call on the upper quadrant, which I'm calling the reach forward quadrant. So we had the Nashville number 4 to the 6, which is the second modal half step or third scale degree, and then we've got 6, 7, and then around the horn to 1 from a Nashville number system, which is the fourth modal half step or fifth scale degree. That's going to be our normal shape. I'm defining this quadrant, the reach forward quadrant, by it having the defining interval to determine whether it's a major or minor mode, that being the second modal half step or third scale degree, which in this case is Nashville number 6, which happens to be an A. All right, so then I think I left off going through the 7th last time, so we're just going to add, like, this time the 11, the 9, no, the 9, 11, and 13. Maybe we did the 9 last time. I'll do the 9, 11, and 13, and we'll add that on. All right, that's what I feel like doing, so that's the plan. So then, let me see. I'll do the quick joke here, quick joke session on this one. Let's see what we got on that. I feel like Okay. So this joke, I've been watching this. There's been a different drama out there that I've been watching, and it's been, I don't know who this guy is, but like all of a sudden it seems like there was a controversy over this streamer, and since I'm a streamer now, I feel like I have to weigh in on this. So here's this, I think it's Piker or something. And all I know is I think he just says like things that are controversial. I don't know what the deal is. Like he's a terrorist supporter or something, as far as like I have no idea. But apparently there's a controversy over whether he shocked his dog with a shock collar, which again, if he's a terrorist supporter, I would be like, that doesn't sound unusual, right? It would be like I would not be surprised, but so I didn't really care about that. But then I was listening to this like It's a Gundam guy who put it in the proper perspective for me, because it's pretty funny. You got all the streamers were going full like CSI, like Sherlock Holmes on it, and they're basically doing the freeze frames to look at the shock collar to see if it's actually a shock collar, because he tried to say it wasn't a shock collar, so he's trying to say no, it's just a vibrating collar, it doesn't actually shock them. But then they looked up the shock number, and they're trying to figure out that, and they say that he tampered with the shock collar, and he took out the pins to make it a shock collar, and so now apparently it's become a big thing. I don't know. It's kind of funny to watch all the streamers all the paranoid, crazy streaming actually did something, seems almost good this time, right? They're going after the guy for shocking. Out of all the things he could have gotten canceled for, it's the shocking of his dog, apparently, that it's going to cross the line. I don't know. Anyways, I wrote a joke about a dog, and I thought I could shoehorn like the current controversy into it, so that's kind of like the origin of the monologue today. All right. So it's called, I think my headphones went out again. Hopefully it's back. So it's called I Dig It. I Dig It. Dog, not so much. So that's the monologue. So, okay. See, now the audio is going in and out again. So he's like, I dig it. And originally I had the dog saying I dig it, but I mean, he's actually the one digging himself a hole because he's trying to lie about the dog collar. So he's like, I dig it. And he's like, well, stop digging because you're putting us in the hole. You're putting us in the hole. And he's like, I can't help it. I dig it. I dig it. Dang it. And then he's like, stop digging. And then we won't be able to get out of a hole if you keep digging. He's like, but I dig it. And then he's like, that's it. I'm reaching for the shock collar. And so now the dog is terrified because apparently the shock collar's right off a camera. So the poor dog has to sit in a little like 4x4 space. And if he moves, that's when the threat of the shock happens. And so the dog's like, whoa, so the dog's like, whoa, I really thought you were going to do it that time. And he's like, I didn't quite scare the crap out of me, but it did scare the gas out of me. And so like my body went red alert. We may have to drop a payload, clear the runway, position the package at the chamber door. Repeat, package is chambered. Target is Hassan's hardwood floor. System primed, crap standby. Sphincter, and then zap! Dog gets shocked once again. Body goes full DEFCON 2. Abort, but keep the payload warm. We may need it for legal action. Meanwhile, Hassan's like, oh, no. It's not a shock collar. It's a vibration suggestion device. And it's like, yeah, it's not punishment. It's feedback. It's just like spicy. It's a spicy feedback. And have you ever seen a dog try to file a complaint? Kaya's over there with a paw on the HR hotline. Hi, yes, I'd like to report an unsafe work environment where I'm required to perform stillness under threat of controlled electricity. while my owner live streams to anarchists and 12-year-olds for crying out loud. They may dig it, but the dog's digging too. Only difference is he's digging to an escape tunnel. All right, kind of shoehorned that one into place, but that's what I got. Let's see, I wrote a song about it. Let's see. The poor dog is stuck in a he's got a fit in the side of the screen so that he's a prop for the, I don't know. Maybe if it was an old dog, I can believe it if it was an old dog and he just sat there for 12 hours a day. But it's like a dog is like, I don't know, it doesn't seem very dog-like to sit there all day like that. But whatever, I don't know.
Yeah, I dig it. Dog don't know, but I do. Oh, I do. I dig it. Keep on digging. Yeah, I dig it deep. Dog's looking nervous like, man, that's steep. Stop digging, boy, you're putting us in a hole. But I can't stop. This shovel's got soul. Dang it, stop digging. We won't get out alive. But I dig it, yeah, I thrive where the dirt vibes. Sling that clay, let the chaos roll. 'Cause I dig it, baby, even when it's a hole. That's it. I'm reaching for the shock collar now. Dog's eyes wide, tail saying, holy cow. He's like, woo, thought you'd do it that time. Didn't crap myself, but I sure passed a sign. Body's going red alert. Turds in the chamber, danger zone, high alert. System prime, crap standing by. Sphincter shaking like a 4th of July. Dog and shock lights up the room. We're DEFCON 2 with a poop typhoon. Aboard, he cries in fear. But save the payload, cold case near. Meanwhile, Hassan's like, woo, don't assume. It's not shock, it's feedback with perfume. It's vibrational advice. Dog's tail smoking, that ain't nice. You ever seen a dog file HR claims? Kaya's on the hotline naming names. Unsafe work, she says, ain't fair play. He shocks me, live to anarchist every day. Yeah, while he streams to 12-year-olds and memes, I'm sitting here contemplating my dreams. They dig it, but I'm digging too. They may dig it, the fans and the fools, but I'm digging my own way out of these rules. Collars off, I'm breaking free tonight. Digging that tunnel straight toward the light. Only difference is he digs for content. I dig for freedom.
Alright. I don't know. Back to work. Alright. So I'm adding the 9 now. So we're on Nashville number 4, Lydian. Let's pull this back down. This needs to go back down to here. Okay. Nashville number 4, Lydian. And then we left off going the 135 or the 024 modal half step, which from a Nashville number off of the Lydian is the 4, the 6, which is Aeolian, which happens to be an A, and then the 1, which is the Ionian. Oh, I lost my pick. Okay, so now we're going to add, and then, so if we were to add the 7, that would be the 3. So we did that last time. So we've got one up top. We've got one down below, Nashville number 3, that is. And so now let's go from there and say we're going to add the 9. So if we add the 9, I could just go up from the 3 and go the next one up, which would be 2 modal half step or 1 modal whole step. That would be 3, 4, 5. So we'd be looking for a 5, which is a Mixolydian. We have one here. We have one here. Now, if I didn't know where it was, I could say, well, if I'm grabbing these and I want to add in a 9, then maybe I have room on this string down below. I can find it and say, okay, well, the 9 is equivalent to 8 modal half steps up, or the 9 is equivalent to the local distance of the 2, which is first modal half step. So it's 1 modal half step away from the root, which is 4. So 4 plus 1 gives us that 5. And I can say distance-wise, because this is a major mode, because it's a Lydian mode, Nashville number 4, it's going to have a major second related to it. And the major second is there on all of the major modes, as well as most of the minor modes, except for the Phrygian. So it's a 2-note away major second, 2-note away major second. So I can count that out if I'm going down below and go 5 notes between the strings, because this tectonic plate shifts to the right, 5, 4, 3, 2. So there's that Nashville number 5 right there, which is 2 modal half steps away, having a distance of the first modal half step, which would be the 2nd scale degree, or if it was an octave up, it would be the 9th modal half step, which is the 8th modal half step, which is the 9th scale degree. What would I call that chord? Well, if I'm naming the chord off of Nashville number 4, the Lydian chord, a major chord, then I can call it, that happens to be an F note. So it would be an F major 9. So an F major 9. All right, that would be fine. And then, but I'd rather call it something from that point. So I'd rather call it like a 5-note Nashville number 4 chord, or a 5-note Lydian chord, or I'd rather call it a Nashville number 4 or Lydian an 8 modal half step chord, because it takes 8 modal half steps to get to that end point, or 8 divided by 2 would be 4 modal whole steps. So it's a Nashville number 4 or Lydian 4 modal whole step chord, because that's the distance to get to the last point. And then I can call it by endpoint. It's going to be a Nashville number 4/5 modal range chord, or a Lydian Mixolydian modal range chord, or from a color system, yellow to magenta modal range chord. All right. So if I was grabbing that one, so I'm up here. Do I have the right glasses on? No. My other glasses. These are the wrong glasses. All right. So then let me pull this up a little bit. That's sticking down there a little bit. Okay. So now we're going to say, okay, so we're up here. So I'm going to say I have this as the normal shape. Wait a sec, is that right? Is normal shape goes do. Alright, and then up here. But now I want to reach down to that 5, which is on 8. So, boom. So it would be like that. But then I want to get that 3rd up top at least. I'm not going to be able to grab maybe that this one. So maybe I can grab that. Now I could, to make it easier, I could drop the 4th modal half step, 5th scale degree, and just grab that. So I could drop this one, Nashville number 1, the C note. put my finger here. Grab it this way, so now I'm rotating my wrist this way. Usually I would think it would be easier to do it this way, but if I rotate my wrist backwards, it's actually easier to get that fourth modal half step, fifth scale degree. In other words, the Ionian, Nashville number 1 Ionian node, which is a C. See if there's another one. I could grab then this one here, but then I would lose the fourth modal half step, third modal half step, second modal half step, third scale degree. So I have one here, but that's where the root is. I could maybe go all the way up to 15, but that's quite a stretch. That's not the best, I would think. But maybe if I'm way up here on the guitar, 12, 13, 14, 15, yeah, if I had a cutout, but not on the Dreadnought. Not on the Dreadnought, man. Alright, so let's go back to here and say, let me add then the 11. So the 11 modal half step would be 11th modal half step would be the 10th, the 11th scale degree would be the 10th modal half step, or the 11th is equivalent to the 4, which is the third modal half step. So it would be 3 modal half steps up from Nashville number 4, the Lydian. So 4, 5, 6, 7, we would be looking for a Locrian. So a Locrian, something like that. I can also say, well, if I left off last time adding the 8th modal half step or 9th scale degree, and that was the 5, Nashville number 5, which is Mixolydian, which happens to be a G. 5, 6, 7 would be the next note, 1 modal half step, or 2 modal half steps, 1 modal whole step up, which would be 7, which is the Locrian node, Nashville number 7, which happens to be in the collection of notes around the key of C, A, B. Okay, so then if I wanted to see how to get there, I can say, okay, well, if I'm adding the fourth modal half, if I'm adding the third modal half step, which is the 4th scale degree, then I know the distance typically is going to be, usually it's going to be a 5 note away distance. But this is where the Lydian is crazy. So the Lydian has a 6 modal half step, 6 note half step distance, which is, you can see more clearly if you had the Lydian like up here where it wasn't crossing the fault line. So there's that very tensiony distance right there. So that's going to be a very tensiony different distance. Everything else, even the Locrian, as you can see, has a distance like that as well, but that's the 5th. It still has a normal 4th, which is the distance between the 7th modal half steps. Nashville number 7 to Nashville number 3 would be going a distance to the third modal half step or 4th scale degree of the Locrian. So even Locrian has a normal 5 note away fourth modal half step, but not everybody tries to hide it. Everybody tries to hide it. The mainstream media doesn't want to tell you that this is the crazy guy, because it's not. I don't know why they don't do it, but they hide the information. So okay, so in anyways, what are we going to call that then? So I know it's going to be a distance of 6 away, so I could say there's 5 notes between here and then 6 to get up to there. Okay, so I can count that. I could say that, what are we going to call that? Well, if that's an F and it's a Lydian chord, you can call it an F major 11, but it has to be an augmented 11 or sharp 11, because that's the interval that's weird. But if you just name it by the modal point, you can call it a Nashville number 4 or Lydian chord, or just say it's a 6-note Nashville number 4 or Lydian chord. And then you can just make sure you pick the ones on the end and drop some of the ones in the middle, and I'd still call it that. Or you can say it's a Nashville number or Lydian 10 modal half step chord, or 10 divided by 2, which would be 5 modal whole step chord, which would be the most efficient way to say it, I believe. So it would be a Nashville number 4 Lydian 5 modal whole step chord, because that's the distance to get you to the last point, which is Nashville number 7 Lydian, which in this case happens to be a B. So you can call it by endpoint, meaning it's Nashville number 4-7 modal range chord, or it's a Lydian to a Locrian modal range chord, or from a color system it's blue-yellow modal range chord. All right. So then to grab that, I can bar this bad doggy like that. So that's going to give us a lot of tension, because again, that's the 6th note away. So if I had just the normal, that's just a normal 3-note Lydian chord, a triad Lydian, but then I add the crazy 6th note away, which is the distinctive. So you're like, so the Lydian is like, it's like as crazy as the Locrian, but they try to hide it, which is even worse, because you know that you could get they can get on camera where the Lydian kills you, and like they wouldn't even. Can you say that? You can't say that, or the Lydian deletes you on camera and they wouldn't even do anything because it's Lydian, whereas the Locrian they would say. See, so you can say, like, if it was right here, like, oh, it's just a normal minor, or it's just a normal major chord. It's a normal major chord. It's not crazy. It's not crazy, but then they reveal, oh no, the crazy Lydian tritone. We have another one like right here, and this is kind of interesting because I can drop the 4th modal half step or the 5th scale degree, and which happens to be Nashville number 1 Ionian, which is a C, and go back here. So it's kind of interesting because like the way the 6th note away, because it's right on the 12/6 of a clock, then like if I was here, like this is in, see, if I go from the 4 to the 7, it's the same distance as if I go negative, because it's still a 6-note distance. It's -6 to get to here, but 12 minus 6 is still 6. So you still get, so even though it's inverted, it's still like from a local distance standpoint, the same distance, because it's right on the half of the clock. So it could be like, that's kind of interesting, because then if I play the chord this way, you're like, oh, it's just a normal major chord. I'm not in danger or anything. But then they reveal, wait, no. Oh no, it's the Lydian. The the Lydian's not crazy. The news said the Lydian's not crazy. The news is lying. The Lydian will kill you or delete you. If I go from that, it's interesting here because if I go from that crazy Lydian and then I resolve it up to the Ionian, which is a C, that's normally the move you go from a C major for a resolution. But this is actually a Lydian chord. So, I mean, if I do both of those, so now I'm not doing the tensiony sound here, but like just as a resolve maneuver, I could just do both of these. Resolve maneuver. And then move that into play. A normal major. He's pulling a knife. He's pulling a knife. Okay, no. All right. Anyway, I have another one down here. Let's see. So we could grab it that way. It's kind of a reach. 5, 6, 7. It's quite a reach. Not all that practical, I feel like. Maybe I can grab this one, might be a little bit more convenient. Almost. So that's kind of interesting because again I get this like slide forward where I can move this from the 7 to the 1, resolving a bit more easily up there. From Nashville number 7 to Nashville number 1, which is going from the augmented third modal half step or fourth scale degree to the second modal half to the fourth modal half step or fifth scale degree. those up at the same time, because I can grab like, well, no. It's the wrong one. Let's add the 13. So the 13, if I go back to the normal chord, or reach up, if I add the 13 is 12 modal half steps up, or the 13 is equivalent to the 6, which is 5 modal half steps up. So I can go 5 modal half steps up from Nashville. Whoop, I'm on the wrong one. Nashville number 4. 5 modal half steps up from Nashville number 4 with 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 is over 7, so 9 minus 7 is 2. Looking for the Dorian, dose, baby. All right, the Dorian. So I can say, okay, so how far away is that? Well, if I'm looking for the 13, which is equivalent to the 6th, I know that has a local distance away from a major mode, as Nashville number 4, the Lydian mode is. It would be a 9-note half step away. So I can check that out by saying it's going to be 5 between the strings because of the fault line. It's diagonal, and then 10, and then 9. So that Nashville number 2 Dorian is 9-note half steps away from Nashville number 4 Lydian, okay, which is going to be, so that's fine. And what would I call that? I would call that Nashville number 4 Lydian is a Lydian major. It would be a Lydian major 13, but then I have to tack on to that the fact that it has an augmented 11. So if I was going to do it that way. Or I can say it's a 7-note Nashville number 4 or Lydian chord. Just take every other number in the collection, and then drop the ones in the middle. Make sure you pick the ones up in the end off, which is the 4 and the 2, as we just go every other note up. Or I can say it's a Nashville number 4 or Lydian 12 modal half step, which would be the 13th scale degree, or 12 divided by 2, Nashville number 4 or Lydian 6 modal whole step chord, because that's the distance to get to the last note. You just skip every other note until you get to the last Nashville number, or you can call it by end point, just taking every other number as you go, which would be a Nashville number 4-2 modal range chord, which would be a Lydian Dorian modal range chord, or from a color system, a blue to a sky blue modal range chord. All right. Okay. Okay. So I can grab, maybe I can just bar that off like so, like so. It's kind of hard to get that one all the way down there. What if I put it on, well, I could just grab this one. I drop the 4th modal half step 5th scale degree and I put it over here. But if I just do those 3, you would think that's a Dorian chord, of course. A minor chord, a minor D chord, Dorian chord. But I'm looking at it, I believe you should be able to name everything from the perspective of any note in the chord. And I'm thinking about this as my tonic. So if I was like noodling around here, and I was like, and I'm thinking about that, this is my tonic. Play that, I'm still thinking of it as a Lydian chord that happens to all right. I don't want to switch it in my mind to be like, oh, now I have to say that's a Dorian chord or a minor chord or whatever, because I'm thinking about this as my tonic. Interessante, like an Ella freaking font. So I could bar this whole thing off that away. So again, that looks like a Dorian chord. But anyway.